Hello, my name's ArbieG and welcome to today's video. Today we have a couple of races to go through at Circuit De Spa, as you can see in the background there. We've got two races that we're going to be going through today. No qualification to bring you, as we're going on the same qualification time on the previous video. As you can see there, a 232, quite flat, 232.0. Still at a D and a B. Still really need to bring up the safety rating on GT Sport. Had a couple of races where I'm trying my best to race as safe as possible. And there's just I had two really bad races where like someone's hit into me and then I've hit into someone else, and I'm the one who's come away with the penalty, which knocks down like your safety rating. And now what I'm trying to do is like really just work up that safety rating to see if I can then go on to improve the driver rating. But here's today's race. We've qualified in 4th place. As you can see, we get away to our rolling start. 4th place is a bit of an awkward position because it starts the race when you're at the back end of the chicane. Really easy to spin out if you just sort of smash your foot down and go for it. So you can see here we've got a nice little gap. We've got away to a nice and easy start as you come through turn 1, heading down to Eau Rouge. We went a little wide there. You can see we got a little bit of slip. It managed to hold the car all together. Probably would have given 5th place a little bit of a kick as we go down these straights, but we'll see if we can get through cleanly and see if the Spaniard in 5th can't, which is more important probably. So we haven't got through there clean, unfortunately. I've had to come off the throttle to ensure that I didn't go over the track a limit, but hopefully I can keep the slipstream on the 3rd position car and get a bit of speed through that, although in the same respect the Spaniard in 5th is going to be getting the same slipstream as well. So we've got quite a tight pack as we come through here into the turn, and we've managed to keep our position whilst the Spaniard overran late on the brake there. And we've got 5 and 6 chasing me quite tightly behind. I've got a penalty in front of me, and you see a penalty served to the chap who ran off before. So we've got a nice tight. I try to get down to about 59 here, maybe run a bit slow as we drop down to 50 and come back through, but still not under threat, maybe pulling a little bit of a gap between us and the people behind, and hopefully if we can make that gap get a bit larger, we can focus more on trying to attack 3rd. So you can see the time deltas there. I've got about a second either side of us, so providing we keep relatively straight, we should be able to hold 4th place as we come down through here. A nice tight right turn into a. And now we've taken that a bit off. We missed the initial apex. Might have come into that a bit fast. Seemed to bring it a bit more neater on the second part of the apex, as 5th place sees to chase us down with the penalty over their head. Seem to take that turn at a good speed there, which sort of leaves us at quite a long straight where you're pretty much full throttle until, if you do it right, full throttle until you hit the very tight chicane at the end. I think it's called the bus stop, but I am not that familiar with circuits overall, but I swear I've heard that called the bus stop before. So you can see here we've got still quite a tight pack as I overrun there and I might lose my position. No, still managed to hold my position of 4th place, but I imagine we might have someone come and try and dip on the inside here, which they didn't yet, but so we still managed to hold 4th position. But it's a very tight pack that we've got going on here. Again, being aware of the safety rating, try not to take any hit, try not to let anyone hit me and or hit anyone else is the challenge as you try and climb out of this. So we've still got quite a tight pack against us, behind us, and still got a little bit of distance to make up to 3rd place, but we're quite a good race at the minute. Not really done any huge mistakes. We've overrun a couple of corners. As you can see, we come down towards Eau Rouge with a block of people behind us, and looks like they're trying to go for the attack. Maybe attacking on Eau Rouge isn't the wisest idea. It's the back straight you want to attack afterwards, and if you've got a half-second penalty, even if you did get past me, what's he going to gain? By the time he gets to the penalty line, I'm coming past him again. So a couple penalties served up a front has made the pack at the front quite tight. So we've really got the top 7 all at quite a neat pack, and the top of the race here as we're about halfway through. I've managed to hold my 4th place, which is good. A lot of movement going on behind us, but no penalties out there at the minute as number 5 runs really wide, giving me a little bit more room. Pardon me. Pardon me for that. As we come running down now, and we're still chasing 3rd position with the pack relatively still close behind us. This is so far quite a nice, neat and clean race, but we're looking for perhaps an opportunity to overtake and see if we can get ourselves a bit higher up the grid. We're waiting for a mistake up in front that we can pounce on. As the Belgium in 3rd ran a little wide there, and we try and see if we can find a little space on the inside to attack, but we haven't yet, and just sit nicely in behind. But it looks like we're going for the attack now, and are we going to get the overtake here? No, he's cut in front of the Belgium and managed to hold his position, but it looks like we are lining up for an attack as we come down to the longer straight. Still sitting in the slipstream quite nicely. I think now's the opportunity. Try to build up some speed in this slipstream, and then perhaps when we get to a bit of a straight, I can sit on the outside or inside and just get past him before we even hit the corner, which it looks like I'm trying to do here, and looks like I'm just in front of him. Managed to get a nice neat overtake and keep the space in front of him. He wants to flash me, but at the end of the day that was a neat overtake and he should have been faster. That's it. So as we break down now to get to the final chicane, maybe a little bit late on the braking there, but number 3 not taking that turn really well, and the game decided to ghost him, and he seemed to crash against some of the chaps behind us and give me just that little bit of breathing room as he come round now into the final wrap, and he's given himself a time penalty of 1 second. In fact, there's a couple of time penalties behind me, so again a nice little bit of breathing room here as we climb the position up to 3rd and get ourselves into the podium. So far this has been quite a nice race that we've sort of held that 4th position for quite some time, having to do quite a lot of defending and just holding, making sure that we're not letting people put pressure on us and forcing us into mistakes. As number 2 takes a bad line through here, so we might find another opportunity to climb a position. A really bad line through there, and I've got the pace on him, so I've decided to come out early onto the outside, and we just got nicely through there. So now we are in 2nd position, having climbed 2 positions, and looks like we might even have a chance to chase down 1st position here, as 3rd looks like he's not happy and wants to reclaim his place. But now we're chasing down the German as we are about a 3rd through our final lap. Really nice race this has been so far, kept it really tight, and it's been quite a respectful race from the people that I've been alongside. You know, no real bumps or scrapes or anything, and people, you know, there's been a few penalties served behind us, but you know, nothing involving me, so that's all I care about really. So he seemed to come through there quite nicely, the German. Now I do really I like this turn here. You sort of just light on the brake, slip down to 4th, go slightly below 100, then just put your foot on the throttle and you should get through, which I have. Seems like I've done it successfully there, which he hasn't, so I've closed the gap, and now looks like I've put myself in a position to be able to attack when we come round to the final few straights. If I can keep myself within half a second, that gives me the opportunity to perhaps even try and grab my 1st win on GT Sport, which would be really nice to be able to do that. So running the best lap I have so far in this section, as we sit nicely behind. I think we're going to be waiting until the hard left turn that we're coming up to in a moment before the chicane, and I think that's going to be an opportunity to perhaps have an attack as we come to the 2nd to last corner of the race. It looks like I've got the pace, so am I going to go on the inside? I've gone on the inside, and it looks like I've got him, but maybe a little bit too late on the braking, and that was terrible. Little too late on the braking, and I've lost that position, and oh, this is disaster. Pushing too hard on the last corner, lost a bunch of positions, and oh dear, span out there. Pushing too hard just to keep some sort of resemblance, and now I don't know what I'm doing here, guys. It's all gone Pete Tong, and now we reverse for our 10th positions place, which, oh dear, we ran such a good race, and maybe should have just settled for my 2nd place and been happy with it, but no, we pushed onto that last corner, thinking, you know what, if I could have had that first a place on that last corner, that would have been a brilliant race to sort of stay in 4th, defend 4th, and then just slowly work my way up through the pack. That would have been absolutely fantastic, but it weren't to be. And maybe a lesson to be learned of maybe just being happy with the 2nd place that I got and not pushing. But you know what, I hadn't won a race yet, and I really wanted to push, but no impact on the safety rating. You can see I got a blue little mark on the safety rating, not yet gone up to A, but at least didn't sort of do anything that impacted my safety rating, which is like #1 aim, but you can see that big dip there on the chart, that big heartbreak there. But you can see my line. You can't even see it in the full screen. The dip's that big, but you can see there. We kept that position all the way through and pushed ourselves up to 2nd, then dropped down to 10th. Bad race. Well, here is our second race of the video, and this is the first race I've managed to qualify in pole position. So we've got a pole position race. So I thought I'd see if I can take this as my opportunity to perhaps try and chase down my first win. It's all pretty much on my shoulders. You can see the time difference there, qualifying wise, a second and a half behind me, the person behind me. Everyone's a D-class racer, so I think if there's an opportunity to win, now's it. I've just got to not do anything stupid and just hold my form. And if I can keep at relatively good times, then I should, in theory, manage to win this race. So we can see the grid lining up now. Still running in the Corvette. I'm really enjoying this Corvette. Tempted for the FIA manufacturer to either run with a Chevrolet so I can ride these Corvettes, or I might go with Aston Martin. I don't know which one yet, but you should see some videos on the FIA season, which starts from Wednesday this week. So got the Nations Cup, where obviously I'll be representing old Blighty, old Great Britain, and then you've got the Manufacturer Cup, where, like I said, I'm going to either sign with Lexus or Aston Martin and see how I get on. I've never taken part in a FIA season, so we've got new parts to sort of think about when it comes to tyre wear, fuel efficiency, a pit strategy. You know, we're going to be running 10-lap races or so, you know, longer races, so requiring a bit more concentration and a little bit more consistency as well, which has really just been my main aim. So you can see we're coming up through Rouge now, and we've not really done anything too shocking. Seem to hold a nice line going through there as we come to the Kemmel Straight. Nice long straight. So if you manage to do all of this right, literally from turn 1 all the way through El Rouge and, you know, onto the Kemmel Straight, you can sort of clock 2 kilometers going flat out. And it's really an important part in terms of your lap time. If you can do turn 1 really well, you know, the improvements it makes on your lap time is ridiculous, just due to the long straight up behind it. So we've got a good 2-second lead on the car behind us, so a little bit more breathing room than we had on our last race, which you know, really good race and really entertaining to watch. Really disappointed I span out on that last corner as I was trying to push to nail my first win. I should have just perhaps been happy with my second position, but you know, this is all learning experience, and I think I had the opportunity. I think I bottled it on the technique. I think I broke just too late. I had him on the pace, and perhaps if I got my braking right, I would have got through and nailed that first place and had that as my first win. But here we are now with probably what is a better opportunity for a win, with a pole position and in general having the pace on people behind me. But you can see the Indian behind me is keeping keeping up with me. So, you know, keeping the threat up to make sure that if I do any kind of major mistakes, then he's going to have the opportunity to go past me. But providing I just, you know, keep it nice and tidy. Maybe missed the apex a little bit there, but nothing too bad. Still managed to remain flat out throughout this. So, and if you get your 2 tyres on the right hand side of these white lines on the green area, as you can see me just about to do now, actually I didn't quite get that right, but you know, normally if you do that you find that you don't drift wide on here, which I did there. So if you get your 2 tyres on the right hand side of the white lines and 2 tyres in the green, you usually find, you know, if you make the turn at the right time, you can get through that at full throttle. So yeah, I am, like I said in my last video, enjoying this circuit a lot more than last week's Suzuka. My basic aim between now and when the FIA races start. So this race was recorded maybe Thursday or Friday last week. But my aim for the FIA races is just try and drive up the safety rating. So when I'm racing in the FIA races, I'm racing against other people who also have a high safety rating. So I'm not going to ruin my race by someone else smashing into me or anything like that. I've got more chance of just be able to lose on my own merit as opposed to someone else's. But you can see on this race here, we're still holding that first position, keeping a gap between us and second and third place, who seem to be having their own little race, which always isn't a bad thing. If you've got two people racing behind you, it normally means that, you know, although they're pushing each other and racing each other, which could speed them up a bit in general, you know, trying to overtake and trying to attack and defend and stuff, it sort of brings down your pace. Especially if you are a defender, it's sort of, you got a choice. You either defend the position you got, or to take the racing line and see if you've got the better pace to see if you can get past them. And it's just sometimes knowing which choice you want to go with is part of the challenge when it comes to racing. But at the moment, I can just take my racing line. I don't really have anyone. You really have to start getting into defending when someone's in like 3/4 of a second from you, you know, half a second to 1 second of you. So when you start thinking about, you know, taking a bit of an abnormal racing line, you know, maybe sort of on the inside a little bit more heavy on the braking to defend your line and stuff, to make sure that people can't get past you without being a blocky twat about it, you know, without swerving to left and right. You know, you choose your side and take your side, and then, you know, person either choose to sit in behind you or go on the inside or the outside of you. That's what you should be doing. But you can see now we are over halfway through the race and we've still managed to retain first position. Arguably not as exciting as the last race that we watched so far, but you know, at the same time, if the aim is a consistency, then this is what it is. You know, just making sure that I'm not doing anything really stupid, and you know, not every turn has to be absolute pitch perfect, because I think to expect that in a race is maybe a little bit unrealistic, as I sort of missed the apex there. We managed to get out nicely, get on full throttle as early as we can without making sure our wheels are at an abnormal angle, so we spin out under the power. Seems like we took a nice line through there, tried a little bit of trail braking but not much, maybe dripped a little bit too slow and a little bit late onto the accelerator, but still not a bad line through there. As we can see, chaps behind us are now sitting at a nice 2 second gap, so we've sort of maintained 2 seconds, you know, sort of drifted between 1.5 seconds and 2.5 seconds, but the main thing is it's being maintained as we drift a little bit wide there, but I don't think it was wide enough for us to get a track penalty. But again, just not hitting that apex at Eau Rouge perfectly. You can see we're on to the last lap now, sort of about 1/3 through the last lap. So we come through the initial chicane, which you can take at pretty fast speed, sort of 75, 80. I found you can maintain a decent speed and still hit the apexes through there. Whereas this one is a bit more of a harder turn, normally requiring you go down to sort of 59 or so, and just feed the throttle around until you get past one of the bollards, which is kind of my indicator to start accelerating out, providing that I'm on the right line and stuff. You know, if you're on the wrong line, you've got to get creative. So, you know, it looks like India behind us is managed to maintain. Oh no, as I say that, he drifts wide. Now you can drift wide here and not lose to it, as you can see there. You can drift wide there and you'll still lose time. If you're driven wide there, you're going to be losing time. There's no matter way. You know, you're still not taking the most efficient line through the turn, but drifting wide at that part of the track isn't the end of the world as it is in other parts. You know, basically, if you drift off anywhere where there's no grip, and then obviously you're going to spin, or you're just not going to have the traction. You're not going to have the power to be able to control your car at speed. So we come through now towards the final stretch before the chicane at the end. Let's see if we get a nice line through here. So try and get our tyres. Again, this must be before I was putting the tyres on the other side. I actually choose to come off the accelerator there. Normally I go through their full throttle, but I must have felt the gap behind us was big enough that I could just play the safety. And let's see if we can get through and secure our first win on GT Sport. Which, let's be honest, not the most exciting win that anyone will ever see in motorsport rating or any kind of racing whatsoever, even in Mario Kart. Starting in first, maintaining first, and finishing first. But it's my first win. You can't not put that in, you know. So, well, I could just not put it in and just say it happened, but doubters are going to doubt, aren't they? So there we go. First win on GT Sport. Pleased with that. You know, to get my first pole. Don't know why that wasn't a clean race. You can see there I've got a star for pole position and a star for the fastest lap being set, which I I'd never had either of them before, so that was good to win. But I thought that was a relatively clean race. Obviously, there's no one near me, so I don't know how I crashed anyone. Didn't get any penalties for the track limits or anything. So yeah, I don't know exactly what the criteria is for a clean race. I thought it's just not trading paint with anybody. But you can see there we've got another boost again to our safety rating, but still sitting at B. Really trying to work it up as it dipped all the way down to 55 after, like I said, a really bad race. But yeah, that is it for today's races. We can now put a tick in the box and say we've managed to secure our first win, and hopefully we can go on to secure a few more over the future. You should see probably another video coming out for Circuit De Spa. I'm still going to be working on pushing up the DR and the SR prior to the FIA season, so we're going to be doing that. And then once the FIA season starts, which is only going to be starting in a couple of days, but you should be seeing videos coming out there, a few days after the FIA races in terms of how we did, how we performed, in terms of quali and prep and all that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to taking part in my first FIA season, and I just want to say thanks so much for taking the time to watch this, and if you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe and all that other stuff, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Alright guys, cheers.